YouTube, onto Facebook, onto Periscope.
Forward onto dawn.
Sending data.
And
We should be live on YouTube. We should be live on Facebook. We should be live. We are officially live on Facebook and YouTube. We are officially live on Periscope. We will be momentarily live on Twitch. It is still sending the data.
Twitter seems to be frozen.
Nice, nice, nice. Welcome to the stream where we are streaming about ourselves today.
Are we live?
We should be live on at least 3 of these.
Oh, we are live on like all of them.
Is on Twitch?
Twitch always takes forever to like show up.
Yeah, Twitch is not. YouTube? How's YouTube? YouTube.
The YouTubes.
I don't see us on YouTube.
Welcome. If for those joining us, we are discussing the Mandalorian season finale called Redemption. We will also be discussing the season as a whole, and of course, as always, we will be projecting and discussing what we think will happen in season 2. There's lots to talk about. We have spoilers ahead. If you haven't seen the finale or any of the Mandalorian, click away because you
We're gonna
will
spoil it for you.
cry.
Wait, they're going to cry?
Yes.
Oh, that's just not good.
I love how you put. Why'd you put transport ship?
Oh, well, I read actually the transport ship that the stormtroopers show up in. I know it happened technically in episode 7, but that transport ship was a toy from the 70s that they were. I think
That's cool.
that they were either supposed to come out with or didn't come out with,
Gotcha.
and it was never in canon until Favreau threw it in.
Sometimes I think I'm a nerd, and then you come up with this shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's just an article I read. I wasn't the one that discovered the information.
We ready for this podcast?
I think we're ready.
For
Let me
those,
hit the record.
yeah, the record.
Well, you do your little spiel.
Of course. Those joining us, if you have questions, comments, we want to talk all things nerdy with you guys. Feel free to jump into the comment section. We will be monitoring and reacting to some of the better comments. The silly comments will just hurt our feelings. So.
Yeah. If you keep it relevant to what we're talking about, it's easier to bring you guys in. So, there you go.
So be cool or something. I don't know. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, the intro.
That was a great intro.
That was a great intro. 3, 2, 1, the intro. Anyway. 3, 2, 1. Was The Mandalorian Episode 8 good? And was The Mandalorian Season 1 good? I'm your host, Ravi, joined as always by Krishna and Arjuna, my 2 brothers.
That's me.
You're one of them.
No, I am collectively all 3 Ramgopal brothers.
Oh boy. Anyway, guys, Happy New Year's. This is the first Was It Good podcast of 2020.
Woo!
We've been doing this for a while now.
This is our
Shit,
3rd
yeah.
year doing Was It Good.
That's crazy.
This is officially the longest podcast I believe we have ever done.
This is also the longest thing I've ever done.
Is it really?
Yeah, I quit everything usually.
That's true. you do quit most
Wait,
things.
you've never had a job that's gone this long?
Oh shit, have you not?
Oh
I can't
my
believe we just have some
God.
dead air while Christian's trying to
Yeah,
figure this
sorry,
out.
I don't think I have.
Wow, I'm sorry. That is
That is
we're not talking Christian's job experience or him quitting on things or anything like that. We're talking Mandalorian. We're talking the Baby Yoda.
This is our 65th episode.
Oh, for love of God, stop giving facts away. Arjuna, you're going to start this section off. It's our one-word impression. What's your one-word impression of Mandalorian Episode 8? Redemption.
I'm going to go. I actually forgot what the episode was called. I was going to go with Redemption.
No, you weren't.
I know. I swear I was, because this redeemed Star Wars. But
You go with redemptive.
I'm going to go with something very simple. Amazing.
Not Amaze balls?
Not Amazeballs.
Wow.
Get rid of the balls. This is a
Unbelievable.
professional podcast. We are professionals. No, I'm going to go with amazing simply because I think what the finale of The Mandalorian was able to do and what The Mandalorian was able to do was amazing to me. It has, I've always been a Star Wars fan, but it's really revitalized my interest in Star Wars. Is it a perfect show? No. But I think it was an amazing show because it has done what I felt like Star Wars could always do, which is open up this huge world into doing so many different types of stories.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me of a lot of the things I do love about Star Wars, which isn't necessarily the main movies. It's a lot of the supplementary content, the video games, the books, the toys. That's what the Mandalorian was able to do. It was able to grow on that, especially under the new ownership of Disney, which has obviously been a big talking point, for half a decade at this point. So I really liked that, and it was amazing.
Nice.
I'm kind of sad you didn't use Amazeballs. I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you. So you admit then that is a great word.
No, it's a stupid word.
You're
Thank
Only
unbelievable.
dumbass would use it. Christian, what's your one-word impression?
So kind of
Thank
similar. Kind of similar. My one word is going to be roots. I felt like the Mandalorian really went back to its roots, or the roots of Star Wars. What makes Star Wars great? The cute and also creepy animatronics, the simple story, and then allowing the world around it to sort of be the setting instead of the setting being like the central part. Like, it's a very simple story, right? I just felt like the way it was even filmed, the locations, just so much about it reminded me a lot of the original trilogy of Star Wars, what made people fall in love with Star Wars. And this is really, I think, the first thing since Return of the Jedi that has felt like that, right? Episode 1, 2, and 3, no, that didn't really feel like that.
Yep.
And the new trilogy certainly does not feel like that. So that is why my word is roots, because they've done it. They did it. Do it. Go back to your roots.
No, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, right? The biggest problem, 1, 2, and 3 probably have. Biggest problem 7, 8, and 9 definitely have is it's a lot of world building.
Yeah.
It's a lot of this big picture, big end of the universe, end of the galaxy type stories, while this is a very direct dude in a mask, weird creature thing running around causing all sorts of fun.
Yeah, it's like the new stuff is basically flash over substance.
Yeah.
And then this really just like flipped that. Not every episode needed to have the big giant space battle or the epic gun scene, right? In fact, some of the best moments I would say in the show are none of those things. It's like the little interaction with Baby Yoda, or the interaction between the two stormtroopers. Scout troopers, there we go.
Be respectful.
Yes. At the beginning of this last episode, right?
Classic Jason.
I think that was the best, might have been the best part of the entire show, was that interaction with those two guys. So
That's your
Well done.
favorite moment?
maybe. I'm still processing.
Wow,
we'll
wow,
get
wow.
to favorite moments, I'm sure. But
As always with one-word impressions, I come super, super prepared. And obviously
and that's your word, prepared. Thank you very much, Rabbit.
No, my word is going to be trooper? Can that
yeah,
does
why
that
not?
work?
Yeah,
Trooper?
yeah, trooper, sure.
Trooper.
But why
And
though?
Because we got so many cool variants of the Stormtrooper. Some of the most obscure ones, like, for example, the Flamethrower Trooper, which is just hilarious because you've only, I think in canon, in the new Disney canon, the only time that Trooper variant has appeared is in Battlefront, the first Battlefront.
Battlefront 1?
Yeah, Battlefront 1
Wait,
under
really?
EA. Yeah, I believe that's the first time in canon that we've seen some kind of visualization of it. And the fact that they brought that out was really, really cool. And then also what's interesting is that variant is a 501st person. I'm not sure which one it is, but if you're watching or out there, let us know.
Make yourself
let us
known.
know.
Come on the podcast. We're famous now.
What was it like? I want to know, what was it like to go around with a flamethrower and then have a tiny little creature send this ball of fire right back at you, and then all your armor to just be burned. And then also we got Death Troopers.
Yeah, definitely.
Death Trooper galore. I mean, I'm still upset about Death Troopers because of Rogue One and how stupid they came off. But with things like Star Wars Rebels, where they were in there for a little bit, them showing up in here, they've also shown them in some of the Marvel comic tie-ins and stuff that have come out.
Marvel?
Well, Marvel writes some of those comics now.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
that
Marvel
Disney synergy,
Star
man.
Wars comics. So they've
Ah.
shown up. So they're kind of slowly being redeemed, very, very slowly. So it's always good when they get like a cool.
I thought they were a little underpowered, though. They were a little powered down in The Mandalorian.
This is 5 years later.
It's true, right?
a
And this
broken
is the
empire.
remnants of the Empire, but they still seemed, like one Death Trooper is supposed to be quite a bit to take on. And I'm not saying that the Mandalorian, Grief, and Kara are like bad warriors, schlubs, but it just seemed a little too easy to take them out.
Wait, are we sure? Like, where is that? Where is that known that they are supposed to be like I know, obviously, yeah, they're supposed to be like really good.
One
But
of
are they
the-
actually that good?
One of the visual guides, I don't know if they. One of them have the Death Trooper in there, and it basically lists off like they're supposed to be the best of the best.
The abilities.
They are the equivalent, supposedly, of like Spec Ops or Special Forces or Special whatever.
Mhm.
But they're trained more in the sense of like personal bodyguard types situations than anything else.
Yeah.
You only ever see them usually with kind of Moffs or Grand Admirals, essentially. So
Right.
like the big wigs, and they're typical like personal guard.
Hmm.
So
I like that they're so tall. Like, and Rogue One, I think the reason they were disappointing in Rogue One was that them being tall meant nothing.
yeah,
Whereas in this, I think they got into like some hand-to-hand combat,
Yeah.
and you could see the size difference. And I thought that was like a very effective way to sort of show that these are not your average stormtroopers,
Yeah.
right? So I feel like the size in terms of like intimidation are super important. So if you're gonna show a Death Trooper, like maybe show that. And
yeah,
they did.
like
And they
get
did.
into the hand-to-hand combat, get into those situations where it's like
Yeah.
clearly this is horrifying to go against.
Yeah.
Fun fact though about Death Troopers, in the expanded universe, the Death Trooper was like the zombie trooper,
Oh,
and
wow.
that the Empire had experimented with like, hey, we've got all these dead troopers. What do we do with them?
Makes-
Oh, I know, bring them back from the dead.
Makes so much sense after Rise of Skywalker, right?
yeah,
like
I mean, yeah,
and,
cloning, all that fun
Spoilers
stuff.
for all the stuff, but you know,
We're just spoiling Star Wars
Yeah,
for
sorry.
everybody. So that means our one-word impression sentence is, from the beginning, amazing roots trooper.
what doesn't make sense.
Sounds like a cool trooper variant.
Yeah, like a
band.
trooper who went back to his roots and was amazing at the circus.
Okay.
Actually, last thing on the trooper thing, though, and more specifically with the opening of this episode. So this episode was directed by Arjuna. I know you know how to pronounce his name, so go ahead.
Taika Waititi.
If you don't know who he is, he directed such great things as Jojo Rabbit, Thor,
Thor
Ragnarok. He
Hunt
is
for the Wilder People.
Hunt for the Wilder People. He's a great director, funny as fuck. And the intro for this obviously was the two scout troopers
Yes.
just going back and forth, making goofy conversation, saying things like, "Oh, I want to see what is this thing."
Taika also plays the IG unit.
Yep, he
that
plays the
is,
IG unit as
in
well.
this.
But I thought what was amazing with the scout troopers when they were trying to shoot, they were like practice shooting, and
Oh
they
my
just could
God.
not make the shot. It was a really nice like, troopers suck.
The
Yeah.
whole intro was great. Just the banter between the two, because it was Jason Sudeikis, who was one of the scout troopers.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, he voiced. I don't think he was actually in the armor. I think they did the voices in post. But he voiced one, and then I forget who the other actor who did the other voice was. It was, I think, an SNL type of guy. And the banter was great. Just, I want to see the baby. Like, you just want to see the baby. And then I think the moment everyone's talking about from that is the punching of Baby Yoda in the bag.
Yeah, how can you
Like,
show
it
that?
was like, well, they didn't, right? You just see a bag get punched. But the
Yeah.
baby was, there was a, they
There-
should have put a warning after the episode or something like, Baby Yoda was not harmed in the making of this
Yeah.
episode.
It's
That would've been-
amazing how
Implying
crazy.
child abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I mean,
But they are the
yeah,
Empire. They
yeah,
are
they're
bad
bad.
guys.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's true.
you know?
That's true.
So
I mean, and they do get beaten up, so you don't want. That's the thing, right? So you don't want to make them too likable,
yeah.
because otherwise, then you're like, oh
Are
no,
Are they beaten or are they dead?
it doesn't matter. Either way, right?
Sure.
Whether dead or not, you can't make them too likable. Otherwise, you feel bad when they die or get
Right.
beaten up. Whereas now the punching babies, no, kill them, especially if it's Baby Yoda, right? It justified the whole thing, apparently.
wow.
Oh, okay.
well,
alrighty.
I'm just saying, though, it makes sense.
Alrighty then.
Alrighty then.
Don't make me the bad guy.
I mean, the internet will do that for you, so don't worry.
No.
Well, for us actually, not for you. So yeah, that's definitely for me. I think that's for all of us, right? Was definitely the highlight.
I think
is
that was an
banter.
interesting highlight.
Yeah.
What did we think of? I didn't put this on here, but I just remembered the IG-11 arc. You
Loved
know,
it. Loved
that the what happens obviously in the very second episode.
Mhm.
We meet the unit and then it dies.
Mhm.
So no, that's the first episode. I'm sorry, not
Yeah.
the second.
It's the
episode.
last scene of the first
episode, right?
Yeah.
You meet the IG unit. It's a killer. They have this fun banter. He kills the IG unit to save Baby Yoda, and then obviously it comes back in episode 7 with the funny montage of it being trained by Quill,
Yeah.
and then you get the big epic moment of the IG unit coming, and then he comes in with the scout bike and just
Yeah.
fuck stormtroopers up essentially, and
Yep.
the scene, and then you even see the Jawa like what, and,
Yeah.
like the two stormtroopers die. It's
Yeah.
just like what?
It was simple. It was you could totally see it coming. There was no subtlety to it.
Sure.
But I still loved it.
Yeah.
It was a simple arc. It was a cliche arc, really.
Right.
To be honest, but it doesn't matter. To me, it didn't matter because it was well done. IG-11 clearly is providing, a little bit of comic relief. Well, then again, most of the show is comic relief. There's so many like funny parts and
Sure.
moments, and then also like providing the Mando's fear of droids and how that starts to change. So
I mean, he is. The IG unit even says like you're sad because you can hear in his voice that he's sad that this unit who saved his life, right?
Yeah.
They do the back to what's it called? The back to
like the back to thing on his head.
yeah. What, the back to juice? No, not juice.
Oh, basically,
Mist?
it's like a healing thing.
Yeah. And you actually see the Mandalorian's face. You see Pedro Pascal. That's where he made all his money. And
That's where he made all of his...
Well,
I'm sorry.
I mean, how do we know he was on set for the rest of it?
Well, no, we know for a fact, like, he wasn't in all of it, and there was actually a cool... there was a cool tweet or Instagram post that came out, I think, the day after Episode 8 aired, that showed the two stunt doubles that were also in there.
Yeah.
Because they did a great job of kind of having to, like... Obviously, Episode 1, I believe he is in Episode 1,
Right.
most of it. But they had to obviously, like, follow him around and understand his mannerism, how
sure.
he moves.
It's
And
a shared, like, I think Episode 4, Pedro's not in the episode, like, physically not there at all.
yeah.
So it's interesting.
Yeah.
But IG, yeah, you go through this whole arc, and then the IG unit sacrifices itself. And it's interesting. You kind of see a little bit of sentience with the droid because it's overcoming some of its basic programming.
Mm-hmm.
The Mandalorian, everyone calls him out. It's like, well, this, your programming is to survive, and this doesn't make sense. So I just thought that was I thought that was honestly interesting. I'm interested. Obviously droids are a big part of this show, and I'm interested to see what they continue to do with it. I think the Mandalorian said in even one of the episodes, like, it's a droid, it can't overcome its programming. He's like, that's not what I've seen before. So I wonder if there's more to just his village and his parents being massacred by droids.
Yeah, and actually, let's move into that because we
Yeah.
finally get kind of the full Mandalorian backstory. One of, I think, Christian's early on observations, you said it, I think, in Episode 1, you said, the Mandalorian is not a Mandalorian. And you were right, nail on the head. We've come to realize that he is not following... He's not Mandalorian in the sense of he was born and raised on Mandalore. He's a Mandalorian in the sense that he follows a creed.
Yeah.
Um,
Because they're no longer a people, right? It is
Right.
just a creed. It's
just
a,
a
it's
creed.
an
I think
idea- an
there
ideal.
definitely still Mandalorians out there, but they're it seems like there's few
far
and
and
far
few.
between.
Yep.
Yeah. He was a foundling,
Foundling.
much
Right.
like Baby Yoda.
But we learn, obviously, the biggest, I think the coolest thing was the flashback to whatever planet he was on. I'm not talking specifically like his parents being dead. That wasn't cool. But Death Watch showing up
Death
and
Watch.
shooting up some some CIS soldier or robots, and then getting him in a jetpack and then flying away.
Yeah.
It is confirmed for those watching and listening. It is obviously Death Watch. We see their
See the
sigil
sigil.
on the shoulder. Because everything we know about Death Watch prior to that moment was that they're a terrorist group. Like,
There's a
they're
lot of
bad.
There's a lot of interest there, obviously, because Death Watch has a very rich history in the prequel series. Due to Clone Wars and Rebels.
Yeah.
Honestly, so it's interesting to kind of pinpoint. Well, where exactly is this in Death Watch's history? Is this one of the splinter groups after Darth Maul has taken over Death Watch, or is it before that? Is it after the Jon Favreau voice character?
Pre-Vizsla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had kind of brought them back. So it's interesting. You're kind of trying to piece together, like, where exactly
But you are aware.
is this moment?
You are aware, though, the entire Death Troop storyline, for the most part, is only over like 2 years, less than 2 years.
For sure.
It's a very, very small period.
And that's what's interesting to try and figure out. Like, is this like early Episode 2? Like, if you go by the Star Wars movies, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to say.
Oh, you mean the actual
Right.
event?
Yeah, is this before any of what you've seen of Death Watch in the Clone Wars, and like is this did they definitely do terrorist stuff, but did they also do some
Maybe that's pre-corruption.
good?
Because
Wait, are you talking
right?
early?
They're
You
not
said
red.
early episode 2. Are you talking Star Wars episode 2?
Mhm.
Remember, the Clone Wars doesn't kick off until
After episode 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying is this pre the show?
Oh.
Because the war is going
the
on.
Rebel show. Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotcha. I mean, Clone Wars show.
Right.
Got it.
Also, the CIS exists between episodes 1 and 2. You've seen the droids and everything, so it honestly could be between episodes 1.
But not that
2.
model of droid.
The,
That model of droid's not released until the battle on Geonosis. Geonosis.
Well, it's the scene there the first time, but do we know definitively that was the first occurrence of it?
But you're not going to have the army out and about before the kickoff of the war attacking some rando village or city or whatever. Well, actually, it would be city because when they fly up, you see a whole bunch of stuff happening.
Sure. It's interesting. They made the bots more menacing. It reminded me of Battlestar Galactica a little bit in terms of
the actual droids?
Yeah, the battle droids.
Yeah.
They were much more menacing, which is because it makes sense. It's from the perspective of a child. They're murderers, while the droids in the movies are kind of played off as idiots mostly.
We do have a comment actually from Crisis Cal. Thank you for listening. They said that it was confirmed post Clone Wars, pre-episode 3, the flashback with Death Watch. So
it's between 2 and 3. It's somewhere in that time period.
yeah, which would make a lot of sense, right? So when exactly does Darth Maul?
It's
take
between
over?
episodes 2 and 3.
Yeah,
during
the Clone Wars series.
Yeah.
Honestly,
It's very interesting.
that was it a 3-year gap between episodes 2 and 3?
It's 2 and a bit.
There's so much canon in between there. There's shows. There's there's so much. That 2-year time span is so defined. It's hard to fit anything else in there.
Like, I wonder if you could actually go like day by day of like
You might
this
be
happened,
able to.
this happened, then this happened.
You wonder if the Lucas group, because obviously they're the keepers of the continuity, they probably you could honestly go day by day. You might have that whole war honestly conceptualized. I don't know how much more you can fit in.
Yeah, it's very interesting because episode 2, right, Attack of the Clones, I think many consider like the worst Star Wars movie for many people, and it's like now you have like things like the Clone Wars animated show, and now we have like even the Mandalorian, like sort of like not redeeming it, but just giving it like much more of a rich, like a rich background to it. I don't think it'll never redeem the movie, right? But a lot of the stuff in the movie we're talking about, it's important. So I think that's really interesting.
Well, I mean, who said it? I mean, Star Wars, the original 9 films, if you will, just the Skywalker saga, whatever. In terms of its like scoring, right? It's all the way at like the 20s, and it's all the way up in like the 80s, 90s, whatever.
Sure.
So some of it's really good, some of it's really, really bad.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is, all these other Star Wars properties, Mandalorian, Rebel, whatever, they all touch upon all of that lush and rich history, which is great.
Yeah.
I think also what I like about Star Wars is you can ask 100 people and they'll give you different responses of what their favorite movies are, what their favorite trilogies are. I don't think it's like a universal like the prequel trilogy was bad. There are a lot of people that like the prequel trilogy.
It's true.
There are a lot of people that like the sequel trilogy. There are obviously
you
a
seem
lot of
to
people.
forget that the first time we saw The Phantom Menace, we watched it I think 3 times back to back. Granted, we were like
We were kids.
8 or 9 or whatever, but
Prequel trilogy is perfect for children.
and I'm a child.
I don't know if I go perfect, but
You were almost a teenager though when it came out.
Yeah.
Remember that. You're 12 when
Yeah,
The
you were
Phantom Menace comes
angsty.
out.
You hated everyone and
That's
everything.
true.
So
did.
you're
I
12,
still
but
do.
think about it. I'm 7 and Ravi's what 9?
Perfect.
So perfect age for us. 9, 10.
Okay, we're talking obviously all the positives of the Mandalorian. Flame Troopers opening. Were there any kind of like things you didn't like about this episode?
There was nothing that I specifically didn't like or hated. I think the only thing that I was like, I think I wanted more from was the Moff Gideon. I just wanted more from him, and I'm sure he's gonna play a huge part, and obviously in the series going forward. And but
We'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. I mean, that was the best. I mean, I actually forgot about that until you just said that. But like I just wanted. I didn't quite get the Breaking Bad menacing vibes that I wanted.
Yeah,
you know
it wasn't as like we've seen this actor.
Yeah, and we know what
Esposito.
we know what he's capable of, and we
Yeah.
didn't quite get it. But you know what? I trust the show because if anything, they've shown that they're going to be extremely patient with it,
Yeah.
and they've already asked of us to be very patient with it, with how they tell this story.
Sure.
So it's not that I hated it. It's just I just wanted that menacing edge that I know he's capable of, and I hope we see it.
I think it was illustrated a little bit, like
Yeah.
especially when he basically almost kills the Mandalorian.
Mhm.
He pulls out his little pistol, he shoots the explosive.
Yeah, no, that was great.
And you see him get shot, and you're like, oh, it's an explosion. He's fine. And then when Kara's in there and she pulls her hand back, you see all the blood. You're like, holy shit. Like, he's about to die.
Yeah.
And then I think everyone presumed, like, oh, Baby Yoda's going to heal him. But then it doesn't happen, and they do a little twist. I don't think I have any, like, lowlights for the episode or the season. But if there's one nitpick I have, and I think it was illustrated in this episode, it's the over-reliance on the Baby Yoda. Baby Yoda, like, pretty much since episode 3-4, has essentially one role that just it's like a catchphrase almost that just plays in every episode. You get the one or two shots of Baby Yoda kind of waddling around,
Yep.
and then he does something with his force powers to save everyone, right?
Well, not every
Um,
episode, but his cuteness is.
Right, but
what they
just
rely
about.
on.
Just about, right? And so, I think it was a little more obvious in this one, like, oh, he's going to save them with a flame trooper. Oh, he's going to save, it's kind of like a get out of jail free card a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I just hope, again, it's not like a major criticism, but I kind of hope in season 2 we get away from like, how is Baby Yoda going to be cute and save everyone this week?
Yeah.
Type of deal.
Hmm.
And then this isn't a low light either, but it was just an observation that kind of was like, whoa, this is weird. Was the fairy droid, which was like
that thing was creepy.
it looked like an astromech, and then it got up and it had arms and legs. I was like, is this a mutant? Like, what's happening here?
Remember, I keep saying that Star Wars is going to show us the droid rebellion,
Sure.
and that the droids have already started.
No.
They're already getting themselves into position. Even the astromech droids are giving themselves limbs and all kinds of crazy stuff to get ready for the droid overthrow.
Well,
So,
but
it's
here's
coming.
Well, hold on a second. Based on what we know from Rise of Skywalker, droids have some like base fundamental programming that seems to be universal to all droids. For example, C-3PO can't read ancient Sith.
Yeah.
It's written and buried deep in there. They have to have something where it's like, don't rise up and destroy the world.
No, I'm sure. And
Programming built in somewhere.
I'm sure it's there. But if you think about it, we have seen multiple times droids, R2-D2, C-3PO, in
BB-8.
Solo, and Solo. The
The
droid.
one that goes into the Falcon.
Yeah, the Falcon. In Rogue One.
Oh yeah.
They keep showing
H2SO.
droids that if they don't get their memory wiped, they develop personalities and defects that makes them more alive, right?
Yeah.
Flaws. Character
IG-11,
flaws.
honestly.
Yeah.
but the
droid overthrow.
The Star Wars universe has been going for X amount of time in Star Wars land. It hasn't happened.
Doesn't mean
Why
it can't, though.
would it
Doesn't
happen
mean
all
it
of a
can't
sudden?
happen.
I feel like that. I don't know.
Yes.
Like the human race went for thousands of years before it went to space.
That's not true.
Prove it.
We were in space first, and then we crash landed.
So
Back on Earth.
maybe Star Wars started off with the droid overthrow.
No. I don't ever want canon. How did the Star Wars universe start? That would be no.
Like a Big Bang?
No, I don't want that.
No,
Yeah,
it would,
that-
no,
you
no,
can't
no,
do
no,
that.
no, no.
Okay,
If
good.
that happened, it would be very like it'd be like a force thing.
Nope, don't
It'd
want
be
that
like
either.
The force
Nope.
and like the. Force
I just don't
and
wanna know.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Don't need to know. Don't care.
Something should be mirrored with us, and I think the unknown of how the
Here
universe
it
started
is.
should
Here,
be one of
here,
them.
here it is. Crossfade and Dalian on a cottage out in the wilderness. Go in through the window. You see a man sitting over a table writing. He picks up his mug. On his mug says, "I'm the best director." Puts the mug down. Camera focuses on mug. Pans up. It's George Lucas. He's writing Star Wars. That's how Star Wars started.
Yeah, there you go. With some
and that's like in some kind of like Jedi temple. that holocron, playing that over and over again.
What did you guys think of the Mandalorian blacksmith battle?
I mean, she's the badass, so yes.
But did anyone else find it kind of just awkwardly placed in the episode?
What do you mean?
Like, what did it? I was just confused by the meaning of the scene, I guess.
What, like
it's
her
this,
dying or what?
No,
She didn't die.
She lived.
Yeah, what happened to her?
She
So
beats the
literally,
shit out of
she beats
Oh,
up
she
a
wins.
bunch
Yeah,
of
yeah,
stormtroopers.
yeah.
6
Yeah.
stormtroopers. She destroys.
But I guess just from a story standpoint.
It's to set up season 2.
Yeah.
She basically tells us what's going to happen next.
She gives them
No, not that part. The
Oh.
part of her literally killing the stormtroopers. What was the point of showing that in the episode?
To show that she's still around.
She's still around. She can fight. She's probably the best fighter that we've seen in the show so far.
Yeah.
And I have a prediction. I'll now wait for until we get to predictions, but I have a prediction.
Oh, I think
That-
I
that's
remember
important.
you said it. I think when we watched it.
No, I have a season 2 prediction.
Yeah, you said it.
What?
That the Mandalorian
Oh, I don't think it's her. Now that I think about
is
it,
Darth Maul.
no, I thought maybe.
We will get to our predictions at the end. Come on.
Well, this
back
isn't
it
a
up.
prediction. I
Oh.
thought that maybe she might have been Sabine. Is that her name?
Bean Sabine?
Satine? No.
No, Sabine.
Sabine.
yeah.
Sabine from Rebels.
From Rebels, yeah.
No,
Well,
I
Ahsoka's
kind of doubt
dead,
that.
so-
Yeah,
I don't-
Ahsoka's
I don't-
dead, so
but
it's
I don't-
possible.
I don't
Well,
think it is,
Filoni
but-
says she's not again.
don't worry about what they say because they don't know.
Dark Saber.
All right, here we go.
Dark Saber.
'Cause
That's why I'm thinking maybe that she is Sabine because Sabine and the Dark Saber are one, right?
No,
But she's not the last character that has the Dark
Darksaber,
Saber
yep.
that we've seen in continuity is Satine's sister, whose name is Bo-Katan.
Oh, so maybe it's
Bo-Katan?
Bo-Katan then.
So Bo-Katan has the saber.
Yeah.
We know that Grief, the event that's been mentioned but we haven't seen is the what do they call it? The liberation, the destruction, something of Mandalore, right? That Grief. So Grief was there, right? The Mandalorian even says the only way he knows my name is he's been to Mandalore
Yeah.
and he oversaw the attack on
Destruction,
Mandalore, right?
yep.
So that's how he got it probably when he was on Mandalore because
Yeah.
Bo-Katan was there. So she's probably dead if he has the
The
dark
saber, yeah.
No, but think about it though. The whole thing might be setting up though, like the confrontation between. That's why they had her show. That's why they show you how she could take on like 10 stormtroopers at once. It's gonna set up some kind of showdown between her and the Moff. And there's
Interesting.
obviously personal history there, right? If it's Bo-Katan or if it's Sabine. Sabine. So
That'd be interesting.
that's
Be weird.
We have an awkward silence now.
That's because I'm processing the silliness that you just said.
Microprocessors.
What? You
the-
know I'm right.
But the dark saber showing up. What was that moment for everybody?
I was like, what? I mean, to me, it took the show to another level. It's like, I don't know. I think it really depends on how the rest of the show goes. Like, you hope that, if Dave Filoni is involved, they already know what the significance is. You know how, like, in the new Star Wars trilogy, they play with things, and you're like, I don't think they understand
What
how
that is.
important some
Yeah.
of the imagery is they're using, and it's like just cast aside.
Sure.
Like,
Are you
could-
talking
they'll
like-
they'll have like shots of like different ships maybe, or just different things, and it's like they don't understand the significance of it.
Right.
You don't trust that they even know the story elements that they're telling.
Yeah.
With this, I do trust them because Dave Filoni is involved.
Filoni to me is the closest that Star Wars has to like a Kevin Feige.
Yeah.
Oh, like
Because-
tying it all together.
Because like Feige worked closely with Stan Lee and a lot of the architects of Marvel. Same thing with Filoni. He worked very closely with George Lucas in developing Clone Wars. He's picked that guy's mind a ton.
Yeah.
So I feel
he
like
still does.
yeah, right. And so I think he is one of the one of the most trusted sources you can have on Star Wars. Like you said, I think he knows exactly
what
it
everything
means.
is.
And
yeah.
it's just cool to see because I think Ravi, you mentioned it after episode 7. It's like is Moff Gideon force sensitive? And when I first saw that, I didn't really I saw the light coming. I'm like, oh my god, he has a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
And I'm like, Ravi was right. He's force sensitive. And then you see the dark saber, and you're like, holy shit, that's the dark saber.
Yeah. But it's not like it came out of nowhere, right? Because once we learned that information that he was
Right.
involved in the Siege of Mandalore,
Right.
then it's like, oh,
Yeah, it makes sense.
yeah.
But here's a question to play devil's advocate.
For sure.
There was another movie that came out last year called Solo that had a similar type of shot. Maybe not as crazy. Maybe that it didn't make people go, "What the fuck? I'm so confused." But the shot of like Darth Maul at the end of Solo.
Well, people were definitely confused because a lot of people thought he was dead.
Yeah.
Do you think though, doing things like that, throwing in like this sword, do you think it potentially you're isolating audiences by doing that, or do you think it's a cool, smart marketing way to kind of pull stuff in? Because actually, as I'm saying this,
Yeah.
a friend of the podcast, Zach Schwartz, texted me a bunch and was like, "What the hell?" asking all these questions, and I believe he's actually going to go and start watching like Rebels and Clone Wars now, so he can get in on all
If
the.
if you go online, there's a ton of guides of like, what is the Darksaber? What episodes of Clone Wars and Rebels should you watch?
Yeah.
To find out what it is. And I think a lot of people are now going back and rediscovering Clone Wars and Rebels, and I think that's cool. I think it's something like it's up to the fan, right? If you're heavily invested and you want to find out, there are all those guides and things, and you can go back and can watch those shows and that information. Or you can literally go to Wikipedia or Google, find out what it is, and like, cool, now I know what it is. That's as far as I want to go.
It's gonna do both. It's gonna inspire a lot of people. I'm sure there's a lot of people were like, when they first started, were like, what kind of lightsaber is that? I've never seen one like that. And then when people realize, when they go online and start figuring it out, it's gonna inspire some, and it's gonna frustrate others.
Yeah.
I think, and it might be an age thing, not to be ageist, but the older you are, the more and the less that you're invested in Star Wars, the more it'll frustrate you.
Sure.
And I think that's at least how I've seen it play out among people I know. It seems like the younger people, my age or younger, they seem to like, they're all in. They'll buy in, they'll read about it, they can watch it. People who are older, they're like, they feel a little bit isolated, or it's like, okay, I have other things to do than, binge watch a show, read a book, see some comic books, read some comic books, that kind of a thing. So it's both. But as they know, but at this point, they should know you can't please everyone. So.
Well, what I like about it is it's taking a risk. You're taking a risk
it is a big risk.
in terms of where the show is going. You've locked in on this thing. Same thing with Solo did, really.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Darth Maul is the architect behind this thing. Obviously, we're not going to probably see that story again unless, they tie it into one of these Disney Plus shows.
Yeah.
But I like that. I like taking a step. It's very Marvel-esque, honestly, with kind of the MacGuffins and the after credit scenes and everything and the little Easter eggs.
I do have a question for both
that
of you,
link
actually.
stuff.
Yeah. So, Ravi, you have said on many occasions that what you want from Star Wars at this point is to do things that aren't necessarily related to things that you've seen before. Like, you like to kind of get away, do like 10,000 years in the past, 10,000 years in the future, whatever it is. Does seeing the Darksaber and then seeing what seemed to be at the beginning this isolated story about a Mandalorian on this like mission, and now they're starting to connect it to some of these bigger pieces, are you happy, sad, mad, angry? What is your feelings, since you have said many times, these are your words, that you'd like to see more isolated stuff?
I think it's okay.
Okay.
And the reason it's okay to me, I think the big thing is like the Mandalorian and the child are nobodies. They are literally nobodies in the worldwide world of the galaxy. The Darksaber being there is just a tool that shows up here and there. It has a lot of history and it's done a lot of terrible things. It killed Obi-Wan Kenobi's love interest. It slaughtered a crap ton of Jedi way back in the past. So it's a very bad thing. I don't think it's going to necessarily be a thing that will connect us directly to like the Skywalkers, for example.
Yeah.
Like and it hasn't so far. In its history of showing up, it's never trying to make sure I'm not like shooting myself in the foot when I say this, but it hasn't done anything to propel or relate to the Skywalkers. It's its own thing, has its own history. Skywalkers, Darksaber, Mandalorians.
Are you afraid they'll beat it to death?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, it's been done. It's showing up. It's not like it's a magical thing. It's not like the keys to the Death Star. It's not like it's Luke's lightsaber. Like Luke's lightsaber, holy fuck, that was beaten to death.
Yeah.
It's its own thing.
Okay.
Well, what's interesting is there is a report from Variety that season 2 of The Mandalorian will include many cameos from the Skywalker saga.
That doesn't mean necessarily it's going to be Rey or Luke or Leia or those folks, because like Darth Maul, for example, he's popping up. We got
he's dead though.
Here's the thing. There's a picture. There's a picture of Ray Park. Ray Park obviously played Darth Maul in Episode 1. Also played Darth Maul in Solo. There's a picture of him floating on the internet that came out day after Episode 8 of him in full Darth Maul makeup, screaming. And then I believe the actor Sam Witwer. I'm sorry for mispronouncing his name. He did the voice of Darth Maul in the Rebels and Clone Wars series.
Mm-hmm.
Commented and said something along the lines of, that's my role, or
That's my saber.
that's my saber. So now people are saying, oh, Maul is going to be in season 2 of Rebels
Or the Mandalorian.
Mandalorian. And a lot of people have come out on Twitter and saying, oh, you idiots, Obi-Wan Kenobi killed him, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
My thing is we've seen we've seen Demon Face die already once. For everyone that's saying
But that to me is beating it to death, right? You've already brought him back once.
Yeah.
And as cool as it was, it is a little ridiculous.
Yeah.
But to do it again,
Yeah.
I think it just ruins it. It's just too unbelievable at
And
that
it
point.
cheapens everything that him and Obi-Wan has gone through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It cheapens it because Obi-Wan is gone, right? So
Well, there's that, but I mean, this could also just be,
Also, how old would he be at this point? He'd be,
yeah, but he's a Dathomir.
but he's already pretty aged by the time
Rebels.
comes around,
Yeah.
which is post, between 3 and 4. Like he's a older, guy. So now this is post Episode 6. Like
He's got to be at
he'd
least
be like,
something.
I have a good prediction here from Crisis Cal, who is tuning in. They said, I have a feeling it's going to be Ahsoka or Ezra Bridger who they give Baby Yoda to. I like that.
Well, let's actually talk about that specifically. So obviously the what would you call it? The Mandalorian blacksmith.
yes.
Yeah.
Tells him, the Mandalorian, he's now your foundling.
Yep.
You need to either give him to, as the Mandalorian says, magical wizards.
Yep. Give him to the magical wizards, space wizards.
Or give him to his own people, his
Right.
own
Right.
race or whatever. So
'Cause
that's interesting.
He's too weak to train as a Mandalorian. Is what
Yeah.
she says.
Wait, who's too weak? The baby?
The baby. It
Oh,
wouldn't
oh,
survive
right.
a
Wouldn't survive
Mandalorian
from-
training.
right.
Yeah. I just love, real quick aside, I love the artwork that has come out recently, like within the last week, of Baby Yoda in Mandalorian armor.
Yeah.
It's actually pretty cute. Pretty adorable. But, yeah, you're probably right. So, real quick, though, if they were to bring back some of these Dave Filoni favorites into Mandalorian, good, bad, happy, or it depends?
It depends. Yeah, if it's Maul, I think I would kind of. Maul's arc is done.
Yeah.
We've seen it. The only thing would predict, we know that an Obi-Wan Kenobi series is coming out. Do we know when that's taking place?
It's supposed to take. Well, there's some more stuff that's come out in the Kenobi series.
Mm-hmm.
They are allegedly looking to cast a child Luke Skywalker
Okay. Yeah.
for the show because it takes place. It takes place between episodes 3
Yeah.
and 4 on his
I mean,
time on
that
Tatooine.
makes sense. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. I mean, that's
He's
not
going to be
surprising,
keeping an eye on him.
Yeah.
So it does make sense. So it is between episodes 3 and 4. I think what probably makes the most sense for characters to show up, I kind of like the idea of Ezra or Ahsoka showing up because those are Dave Filoni characters. And
We need to know what the fuck happened.
Filoni has mentioned multiple times there's still a story to tell with Ezra and Ahsoka and Sabine.
No shit.
And and Thrawn.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And I think it would be fascinating to tell a part of that story in the Mandalorian show. Especially, obviously, Filoni is highly involved in the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
He's listed as an EP. He directs episodes. He
Yeah.
writes episodes.
Yeah.
It makes, if the show keeps going, Favreau's not going to do it forever. He'd probably hand it off to Filoni at some point.
Why would he do it forever?
because he's a movie director. He does a lot of high profile projects. I don't see that if they want to do the Mandalorian for 10 seasons, Jon Favreau is not going to do it for 10 seasons.
Yeah, he's
Do you
got
get the
other
impression
things
they're
to
going
do.
to be doing it for 10 seasons?
No,
I get the
no,
impression
no.
it's going to be 5 seasons max.
I feel
think
like
that's
3 or 4.
Yeah, 3 or 4.
Yeah, that's 5 is max. That's
Gotcha.
why 3 or 4 is perfect.
Right.
3 is.
Watch,
But
3
even-
seasons is
but
perfect.
even then, I
watch
don't know
Bob Iger comes out. Yeah, we're gonna do Mandalorian until forever.
Oh my god! Is that it becomes like a soap opera? It's like it becomes like 100-year.
Oh my God! It's
Show.
like, do you remember the IG unit from season 1? Well, they found him and rebuilt him.
No, because
So it's like 24.
because the story is
I know.
the story is of the Mandalorian with Baby Yoda with the child.
That's what it is right now. It could change.
I don't know if but
Oh, I
that
agree.
would change
It
the
shouldn't
premise of the
change,
show.
but-
you know.
Doesn't I mean?
Right.
They're like, it's Mandalorian. We can do whatever we
For
want. We're
sure.
Disney.
No, for sure you could, but I'm saying
Give us your money.
It would be like with The Office going past the Jim and Pam romance, or trying to continue without Steve Carell, or How I Met Your Mother dragging on a premise for 8.
Freaking years, and then you get the worst payoff ever.
Let's not talk about that.
Okay. Let's get into let's recap our bold predictions, actually. So,
Oh yes.
Christian, we'll start with you. Your season 8 prediction,
Or episode 8.
excuse me, your episode 8 prediction was Mando's face is revealed. So, everyone, good job, Christian.
I finally got one right.
You got one
Yay,
right.
woo!
Mine was IG-11 comes gun blazing. I was
Yep.
right.
Correct.
I was
Well
right.
done.
Wow, I'm good at this. Arjuna, Star Destroyer will show up. Sorry, buddy.
I got last week's. That's
you
fine.
kind of suck.
I
at
went
this.
bold. You guys went safe. IG shows up. Well, duh, he's gonna show up.
I said
Well,
guns blazing,
Yeah,
and
duh.
those guns were blazing.
Duh, he's a assassin droid. That was going to happen. The Mandalorian's face shows
Gina,
up.
you shouldn't say.
Duh.
Episode 7, you had Gina Carano's character returns.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
that was
so
sa-
come
that was
on.
safe as-
That was
Don't
safe
blame
as
us
How
for
was
being
that
safe.
safe?
That was
What
super
do you mean, how was
safe.
that safe?
That's the
No other
same exact
character
level.
had
Oh my
returned
That's
up
the
until
same
that point.
exact
Up
level
until that
as
point.
Mando's
So
face
going in
getting-
reverse,
No.
your season-long prediction was the Mandalorian will have a crew. He did for a time period.
Mm.
Oh,
Then
wait,
he, then he
you-
got
you-
one of them killed.
You forgot to mention Mercedes, who was on for episode 7. Her
Oh,
episode 8
yes.
prediction.
Oh, baby, Yoda destroys everything. Doesn't really destroy everything. Destroys a flame trooper.
Yeah.
Gets IG killed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess that doesn't really work. I'm afraid.
Yeah. She's wrong.
Wrong.
That was the boldest, I would say, of all the predictions.
The Star Destroyer showing up isn't bold.
Not
No.
really. No.
I mean, it's like something arrives, something comes, something returns. You know,
Yeah.
it's like whereas Yoda destroying everything is like would be a huge plot point.
That would make
And a
sense.
turning point
though.
of the
That would
entire
make
show.
sense. A
Yeah.
Star Destroyer showing up didn't make that
yeah,
much sense.
I'm not.
I would say mine was more bold.
You're
So-
wrong. Not the
Wrong.
not the
Let's
baby.
play,
Yoda
hey,
story.
let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. So, in terms of season-long predictions, Natalie, who was also on one of our earlier podcasts, her season-long one was that Baby Yoda would heal the Mandalorian. We did. Wait, when did we see that?
We did not see
We
that.
did not see that.
Baby Yoda healed Grief.
Grief. That's
And
right.
there was it seemed like they were setting up for Baby Yoda to heal the Mandalorian as he was dying, but it was the IG unit that came in with the Bacta fluid to heal him.
And then Arjuna's season-long was
Mandalorian has a crew, which happened.
Mine was we won't know Baby Yoda's origins. That was right. And then Christian, yours was we see the origins of the First Order.
Maybe we did and we didn't know it yet, but that's probably wrong.
Maybe that should be a show prediction.
That should be a show prediction, actually. I think it's a good show. But let's speaking of bold predictions, I kind of want to hear everyone's predictions for season 2. I'll start in true
Oh.
Arjuna fashion. A big ship will show up.
It's a Star Destroyer.
There'll be a
It
big
was a
ship
specific
battle.
Ship. I had mentioned why it would happen
man.
because he was standing
I
in the
know,
hologram,
we know.
and then he went into the ship and came down.
Yeah. A better one would be like a Star Destroyer crashes on Mando's head.
Or better,
That's bold.
or better, Baby Yoda.
Mandalorian's face shows up.
No, better, way better. Baby,
fuck up.
Baby Yoda flies a Star Destroyer.
You're just mad because I was right.
That would be great.
Oh no, I'm just mad that you guys are trolling me.
It's not hard to troll you,
Yeah,
to be honest.
it's pretty easy.
So your prediction? What's your real season 2 prediction? Darth Maul shows up.
I don't really have one, to be honest.
Well, you gotta come up with something, anything.
Anything?
It could be as specific. Go as big or as small as you want. And then we'll either
I'll
rip
go.
on
I'll
you
go
for
last.
being
I'll go last. I have to
Go
think
last?
on it.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, I've got one.
Yeah, you had one. Yeah, go for it.
There's going to be a battle between
Good and evil.
Yes.
That's bold.
No. There's going to be a battle between Mandalorians and Death Troopers.
Death Troopers specifically?
Yes.
They're so far and few, though.
And they're so far and few Mandalorians. It's perfect.
Touche.
So that,
Oh, I
would be,
got
and that
mine.
would be a sick battle.
I got mine.
Think about that.
I got mine.
Go for it.
Mine is going to be, the season 2 prediction is going to be, we finally figure out specifically why Gideon wanted this child, and it's going to tie directly into Palpatine.
No.
And that whole shebang and cloning and all
Really?
that crap. Yep.
Interesting. Okay.
And
Wait, would that make you
not
happy or mad?
actually not necessarily cloning. I think it's going to be more on the idea of stealing Force energy.
Okay.
Because, and anyone watching, please correct me if I'm wrong, or listening, please correct us if we're wrong. Hit us up on Twitter at @WasItGood. In the Clone Wars series, there is an arc, small arc, where Sidious is stealing Force-sensitive children.
Yeah.
And there was a whole reason, and I can't remember why, but I think it was something to do with stealing their Force energy.
And that ties back into the one of the big questions from Rise of Skywalker, podcast of that dropping soon from Was It Good, that if Snoke was a clone, right? How was Sidious able to transfer Force energy into Snoke and potentially his own body, as there's been a lot of was Palpatine's body a clone or the original body? Was he able to transfer Force energy, et cetera, et cetera?
Mm-hmm.
So I think the transference of Force energy is a big mystery in the Star Wars universe that has been hinted at, like you said, potentially in Clone Wars, and potentially maybe with Baby Yoda and Mandalorian.
I think that makes a lot of sense, and that's a good prediction. Does that make you happy or sad though? 'Cause since they might bring in Palpatine.
I don't ever think. I mean, we saw Palpatine show up in Rebels, and I
Yeah,
thought that
that's
was going to annoy me, but they did it really, really well, and it wasn't kind of so in your face.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: he's running the fucking galaxy. No corner of the galaxy can you hide from that.
Well, as of 2019.
What?
He wasn't running the galaxy when they made 7 and 8. It's retroactive.
Oh.
But potatoes.
Well, no,
me being
what I
a
mean by that, though, is like he has all influence on everything. Everything that happens in this universe is because of his piss poor decisions or good decisions, depending on if you think what he's doing is good or bad.
Makes sense. All right.
Tuna fish?
My prediction.
No, I'm asking, can you go get me some tuna fish?
My prediction for season 2 of The Mandalorian is that we see a lightsaber battle
What?
What the hell, Arjuna?
between
Yeah.
the Darksaber and
Ezra's saber.
a blue lightsaber.
Wow.
Wow,
trying
this
to-
is the
going-
safest
yeah.
fucking
I'm going boldest and specific.
Pacific.
What? No.
Specific.
You gotta name who's the owner of the blue saber.
All right, the
Ahsoka Tano.
Luke
Except,
Skywalker. I'm
who's
gonna go Luke Skywalker.
Wow.
Luke a
See, that's
de-aged
bold.
de-aged Mark Hamill will show up.
CGI Mark Hamill.
De-aged Mark Hamill will show up, and Baby Yoda will be left with Luke at the end of season 2 after a lightsaber battle between him and the. I don't know if Moff Gideon will have the Darksaber by this point, but I'll say whoever has the Darksaber.
Do you think if they did that, June, this is a question specifically for you,
Yes.
that they who's the actor who plays Bucky in Sebastian something?
Sebastian Stan.
Yeah, Stan Sebastian, whatever his name is. Because he's been linked, or the fans
The fans
a
have
lot of
said-
fans
yeah,
have said that
he looks
kind of
does.
similar.
He
to,
does. If you look at him, he does.
Mark Hamill, like a younger Mark Hamill. Would you like to see maybe them like cast like a young Luke like that? Maybe
I think that would be okay, but once again,
it can't be in your face.
can't be in your face. It's got to be a stealth. And I get it. Luke is figuring out a new Jedi Order or whatever the fuck.
Around this time, right?
Yeah, right
Actually,
around this time.
he's like training Leia either before or after this. So
Right. There is 30 years of Luke Skywalker stories to tell.
yeah,
If you think about it.
There's 30 years of Luke, Leia, and Han stories to tell.
And you've already
And
cast
Kylo.
your Han Solo.
It's true.
Why not cast a young Luke and Leia at this point and expand on those?
Yeah, redo the series.
Our cameras, I think, just froze.
Oh, yeah, it says waiting for connection.
Yep.
Our cameras froze.
Here, you want to pause the recording?
Yeah, I'll pause the recording.
Are we still live?
Yeah, we're
Yep.
still live. They can
Alright.
hear us at least.
All right. Well, if you can hear us, we are just taking a quick break from the podcast while we get our cameras back online. But thank you for all the comments for those
Christians
of you
is back.
who have been
That's funny.
commenting.
Ravi, you're back if you want to lead in.
Woo, back!
Oh man.
I love technology.
And I'm back.
How long were we recording for?
I don't know. I didn't see the
How long have we
timestamp.
been up for, though?
We've been streaming for 56 minutes.
Wow, so
Not bad.
something's going on with this fucking computer.
We're ready to start the recording in.
Yes, sir.
So we'll pick up right where we're talking about young Luke,
Yeah.
Han, and Leia. The record is starting. We'll give it a couple seconds.
Giving it a couple seconds.
So they have the opportunity to have the young Luke, Han, and Leia. They already have an actor cast as a young Han. They could bring in Sebastian Stan as a young Luke. They could cast a young Leia if they wanted to and really tell that 30 years of story. I don't think that's above Star Wars to do that.
Above Disney, or below Disney, or sideways of Disney.
Yeah. I think that's certainly something they've probably talked about.
Sure. But we'll have to see. We will have to see.
And then if young Luke is, Sebastian Stan as Luke Skywalker is highly received, then he gets his own spin-off on Disney+.
yeah.
I mean, we're going to see, we would have to see more of that 30-year period. Like, they're not just going to we're not doing anything with it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I mean, if the stories are simple enough and we go back to, like, the roots, like what you said at the beginning, then it's not this crazy in-your-face thing. At the same time, though, there does need to be some kind of balance where it's not just the Skywalkers running around. Some of the more interesting stories in Star Wars comes from those weirder one-off series like Rebels with Ezra, with Ahsoka.
Maybe they should do then, instead of trying to like do all this recasting and stuff. Maybe they should just do animated, like they did Rebels and Clone Wars, right?
Yeah.
That takes place, during the first prequel series, and then also after that, but before Episode 4. Why not do the same thing? Maybe have a couple of animated shows that can help fill in the gaps a little bit. I would be down for that. That'd be great.
It's doable.
Yeah.
Definitely doable.
Yeah. Is it that time?
Could happen.
It could happen.
Is it
Krishna,
Oh,
was The Mandalorian Episode 8 and the whole season of Mandalorian good?
What if it's two different answers?
It's fine. Then tell
what
us
the
your
hell do
answers.
you think?
No?
Arjuna, what? Yes, it was good. Arjuna, was Mandalorian good?
Yes, and it is the best thing that Star Wars released in 2019.
Damn, son.
That is accurate.
It is
Ravi,
very
was
accurate.
The Mandalorian Season 1, Episode 8
Whoa.
good, and Season 1
Yes,
good.
it was, and I'd like to say that I predicted this at Star Wars Celebration in Chicago. I looked at Christian in my hungover state at the panel, and I said, this is going to be fucking cool.
Ravi, you say that about a lot of things that you
Shut
regret.
up!
You said that about After the Rise of Skywalker trailer that we saw at Celebration. You're like, you were having a panic attack next to me when you heard Palpatine's voice. I was like,
Who doesn't have a panic attack? That voice is scary.
Yeah, I think Rogue One, when you saw the trailer, you're like, this is going to be amazing.
When you saw the Last Jedi, you said Mark Hamill was going to win an Oscar.
Yeah, you
I
did
did
say
do
that. You owe me a spray tan bet, motherfucker.
You said Mark Hamill would win.
I'm sorry that I have hope in a franchise that's going to be beaten to death more than parents trying to get their kids to eat vegetables.
Here's a question, though.
Ours failed, by the way.
Are you going to watch it again?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I was actually sitting here thinking, man, I've got like the rest of the day to do nothing. Maybe I should watch that.
Hey,
again.
actually, so for our listeners, me and Ravi are going to attempt to cosplay as the Mandalorian. Ravi is going to attempt to do shiny Mandalorian after he gets new armor, and I'm going to attempt to do pre-shiny Mandalorian.
Oh, here's the question, though, for the shiny armor. Is it going to be with the jetpack and the sigil?
It really depends on two things. Money and more money.
Yeah, man.
So-
money and more money.
Fair.
I'll
fair.
start a GoFundMe. No, I'm kidding. That's stupid. I'll just work harder.
So, yeah, if you're interested in following us and acquiring this stuff and trying it on and pretending to be, space warriors, then you should check us out on Instagram and Twitter and all those other things that Ravi is going to tell you about right now.
Yeah, so follow along on the journey. Follow along for our other podcast at Was It Good on Twitter. Was It Good on Twitch, which is twitch.tv/wasitgood. On Instagram at wasitgoodbtm. We do podcasts on movies and TV shows.
We do?
Yes, sir. Thank
Wow.
you for listening. Goodbye. And anyone still watching, what questions do you have?
Yes. Yeah, so if you have any questions, now's the time to let us know.
Do we have any
Some good
queued up?
comments. Some good comments.
Who was on Twitch who helped us with a lot of info?
Crisis Cal.
Appreciate you.
Yes.
Appreciate you, my G.
Yeah. That
Currently
was
have 5 viewers on
some
Twitch.
good stuff here.
Wow.
Yes. We're dealing. Crisis Cal is clearly, a
nerd.
fan of all the animated shows
And
like
real
we
quick,
are. and
here's a
so
special
appreciate
behind-the-scenes look at our producer, the real producer, the cat, telling the idiot associate producer over there what to do.
His eyes are completely closed. He's just asleep, right in between this laptop and the soundboard.
Wow, actually, this is great. So, if anyone who sticks around after the podcast is done, they get a behind-the-scenes look, literally,
At a cat
at a
doing
cat
nothing.
sleeping on Arjuna's computer.
Can we get the face? The wire doesn't come.
Wow, he is. Is he asleep?
His eyes are closed.
Are you sleeping, buddy?
His eyes
Wow.
are completely shut, like they want to
Well,
open.
Here,
he
we'll
must
do
be as
your
hungover
camera.
as we are.
He didn't even drink.
Oh, he
that's what
opened
you
his
think.
eyes now. There
Oh,
you go.
He knew the camera was coming on him. Man, this is great.
He looks angry as F word.
no, he
No,
isn't.
but his tail. If he was annoyed, his tail would be swiping.
Yeah, man. Well, by the way, this cat's name is Megatron.
Megatron, I can't have you on the
because-
keyboard.
Oh my God, he is literally
You're
trying
gonna mess up our
ruin
stream, bud.
Your life, ruining your life.
That would be annoying if he was to do that.
Indeed. Well,
Well, I think we
Megatron,
can call it.
I think that's
I
good.
wanna go eat food. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
So goodbye.
Thank you for watching.